Critical triple-digit heat triggering a string of WRAL weather alert days. We're talking a 112-degree feel in some areas. We're tracking near record highs and lows this weekend.
Calls for help as damage assessments continue in hard-hit areas from Tropical Storm Chantal. Residents say more needs to be done to get aid to flood victims ahead of the growing calls for assistance.
Then, saving sports. The administration calls it saving college sports, but critics say it's all suggestion and no solution. We explain the real aim of a sweeping new executive order. If you thought today was hot, wait till this weekend. We have 5 more WRAL weather alert days on the way starting tomorrow. Thank you for joining us. I'm Gerald Owens. How hot is it going to get? Well, check out the heat index for tomorrow. This is how hot it's going to feel. 110 in Raleigh, 109 in Durham, 111 in Clinton. Kat Campbell's in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. Kat, any chance some pop-up storms will cool us off during this spell?
About a 20% chance each day. So there could be 1 or 2 on the radar each afternoon, but there won't be very many. Most of us are just going to be roasting this weekend. An extreme heat warning is in effect Saturday and Sunday. This is a tier up in severity from our heat advisories that we've seen quite a bit of lately. The peak heat index in the triangle to 110. Could feel like 106 in Roxborough tomorrow, 109 in Rocky Mount, 110 in Raleigh. Check out Sunday's numbers. These are even higher. Still 110 in the triangle, but Fayetteville, Goldsboro could get up to 112 for the heat index. Clinton could get close to 115. It is going to be very, very hot through the weekend. High temperatures climb into the triple digits both Saturday and Sunday. And we're not done with the big heat after Sunday. The heat wave will last into the middle of next week, but there is an end in sight. I'll have a closer look at when highs could dip into the 80s coming up.
All right, Kat, this is Brian Schrader in the WRAL Live Center, and all new at 7 o'clock. We're getting new details about a deadly shooting in Rocky Mount that happened yesterday, and this is really hitting home with the Rocky Mount Police Department. This happened around 5:30 at Sunset Park. Officers got a call of shots fired. They say that 47-year-old Calvin Conyers shot 58-year-old Jaime de la Fuente several times. They found de la Fuente in a vehicle, and he died later at the hospital. He is the father of a Rocky Mount police officer. Another victim was treated at the scene and released by paramedics. They say that Conyers then ran to a Mexican restaurant on Sunset Avenue, tried to carjack a woman and a child in that parking lot before shooting himself. He is now in critical condition. Conyers is facing charges of first-degree murder, attempted first-degree murder, and 2 counts of kidnapping.
Thank you, Brian. Counties hit hard by Tropical Depression Chantal are waiting to see how much aid they qualify for. The next steps aren't clear because officials are still trying to figure out how much damage there is. WRAL's Flynn Snyder asked officials how much longer this could take.
Residents in Chapel Hill's Camelot Village have been replaced by demolition crews as waterlogged debris remains piled up. Those who had to evacuate described the last few weeks as a waiting game while officials total the damages. $69 million. That's the latest estimated damage from Tropical Storm Chantal in Orange County. Nearly 3 weeks since the storm, calls for help from evacuated residents in hard-hit Camelot Village are growing louder.
I would hope that our government would come out and, help those people that, really need that aid, that are going to be homeless because of this, that lost all of their personal belongings.
Last week, Governor Josh Stein toured the devastated community.
We're going to do everything we can to tally up all the damage and see what kind of programs exist to help you.
Since then, WRAL reached out to the state's Division of Emergency Management, asking if damage assessments were complete and what threshold counties have to meet in order to qualify for state or federal aid. The division has not yet provided that information.
Why is it important to quantify this damage?
If there's significant enough damage, enough widespread and enough homes, and maybe the community doesn't have that capacity to recover, and we share that with the state, that either state disaster recovery programs may be able to assist, or federal programs.
Chatham County's emergency management director says unlike Hurricane Helene, which saw widespread devastation, Chantal's impacts were more localized, meaning the road to possible aid could be less certain.
The path forward is not absolutely clear. I mean, we're absolutely wanting to do anything that we can to support our residents and support our businesses and help them, again, on their road to recovery. But this is not one of those clear, cut and dry events.
For flood victims, the wait for answers continues. Flint Snyder, WRAL News, Chapel Hill.
Governor Stein has 30 days after Chantal to submit any necessary disaster declaration requests to the president. Let's run through some of today's big headlines. Here are 5 things you should know right now. Sources tell WRAL's NC Capitol team that former Congressman Wiley Nickel is getting out of the U.S. Senate race. The Democrat is expected to endorse former Governor Roy Cooper, then run for Wake County District Attorney instead. Current DA Lauren Freeman is not running for re-election. Nickel declined to comment when reached by WRAL today. 4 people were injured when a house exploded in the Triad. This happened last night in Winston-Salem. More than 50 firefighters were on the scene. One of them went to the hospital for heat exhaustion. No word on what caused the explosion. Duke University will start involuntary layoffs next month to compensate for federal funding cuts. Earlier this spring, the school offered buyouts to employees. About 600 staffers took the deal. Another 250 are still thinking about it. The university says this won't be enough to make up for the funding cuts. It did not say how many people will be laid off as a result. There's more help tonight for the Nash County Animal Shelter. According to a Facebook post from the Pet Connection Center, the new animal control officer started work today. An office assistant and 2 shelter attendants also began this week. The shelter was fined $9,000 after failing an inspection Tuesday, the second fine in 2 months. Adoptions and owner surrenders have been paused until the shelter is fully staffed. A new bus station is open in downtown Raleigh at Union Station. It'll serve Go Triangle routes that include Durham and Chapel Hill. Go Raleigh routes will still operate out of Moore Square. The new facility will also serve bus rapid transit routes and electric buses. Garner's hoping a new traffic pattern will improve safety on White Oak Road, but the construction to make it happen may be making things worse. WR's Carly Haynes joins us live tonight from Garner. Carly, a lot of dirt, traffic cones, and detour signs out there.
That's what we're seeing here, Gerald. This pile of dirt in Garner will soon become a roundabout that's meant to ease traffic in a growing area. But neighbors have concerns about the construction and the traffic that it's bringing in the meantime. Now, a lot of this construction means those detours, those closed roads, but commuters say the town's traffic management plan, approved by the Department of Transportation, funnels all the cars into the same roads, creating a traffic nightmare. They say they've also witnessed more crashes as cars try to turn from Bryan Road onto the heavily traveled White Oak Road during peak hours.
I'm just concerned about the start of traditional schools on August the 25th. There's nowhere for these parents and teenage drivers to go for carpool and even the buses.
Garner police have responded to 5 crashes in the area around this roundabout since June 16th. There are some solutions that are being discussed between the town of Garner, between the Department of Transportation, and even the contractor here, but there's a lot of red tape that they have to go through before those solutions become a reality, Gerald.
Carly, what are some of the options they're considering, and what's the holdup?
Well, one of them is a temporary traffic light, which would be at the intersection of Bryan Road and where we're standing on White Oak Road. That would certainly help with the safety aspect of this, maybe not so much with the congestion. But any change to the traffic management plan, including a temporary light, would have to be approved by the Department of Transportation. And in order for the DOT to approve it, they would need to have a design plan put forward. So a lot of it is dependent on a lot of other things, and it could take a while.
Hurry up and wait. Carly Haynes, live in Garner. Thank you, Carly. Coming up, we'll take a deeper dive into President Trump's executive order tackling college sports. It's a goal to ban pay for play and protect non-revenue sports. Which parts of the order are mandates and which parts are more like suggestions? Let's talk about it after the break. President Trump has issued 176 executive orders since taking office in January. We're doing our best to keep up. The most recent order tackles college sports. That involves the Tar Heels, Wolfpack, and Blue Devils. This could be a big deal for your favorite team, so let's talk about it. What does this order do and not do?
Order up!
The order is called Saving College Sports. It's trying to do a lot to protect women's sports and non-revenue sports. Clarify labor status of college athletes, protect athletic departments from lawsuits, and prohibit pay-for-play deals. It says, absent guardrails to stop the madness, many college sports will soon cease to exist. And that's true. The last few years of college sports has been madness, and not just the kind in March. You have NIL, the name, image, and likeness deals. It gives athletes a chance to make money, but it can create bidding wars between schools, and the athletes transfer to the highest bidder. Then there is the recent settlement that created revenue sharing. $20 million per school can go to the athletes, but not every sport makes money. That creates the possibility of eliminating those teams. Now, these are real problems, but does this executive order solve them? Does it save the day, like it says in the title? Let's go through it. The order says athletic departments with greater than $125 million in revenue last year should provide more scholarship opportunities in non-revenue sports. According to the 2023-24 data, the biggest schools in our area meet that mark. UNC brought in $164 million, NC State $133 million. Duke is a private school, so their numbers aren't public. However, we asked them, and they told us Duke is above $125 million. That means UNC, Duke, and NC State would have to provide more scholarships in non-revenue sports next year. Things like swimming, baseball, tennis, wrestling, track and field, and others. Some schools are already doing this, and when it comes to paying players, the order says that revenue sharing should be designed and implemented in a manner that preserves or expands opportunities in women's and non-revenue sports. It goes on to say pay-for-play payments should not be permitted. Deals like brand endorsements are exempt. Basically, the administration doesn't want athletes signing an NIL deal that doesn't have a valid business purpose. The NCAA already took steps toward this. They recently created a clearinghouse called NIL Go. The group oversees all NIL deals worth over $600, figuring out if those deals are legit and trying to prevent pay for play. This is a new thing, so the jury is out on whether or not it's going to work. You may think all these moves sound great, or maybe they sound terrible. Either way, there's one big problem. It boils down to the word should. The order says pay for play should be banned. Schools should create more scholarships. That revenue sharing should help expand other sports. Basically, these are suggestions and not demands. Executive orders don't wield that kind of power, but they do have some power. This college sports order directs the Department of Education, the Attorney General, the Secretary of Health and Human Services, and the Federal Trade Commission to come up with a plan. Figure out how to enforce these policies and do it within 30 days. The AG and FTC also have 60 days to create a plan to protect athletic departments from antitrust lawsuits. This order directs the National Labor Relations Board to clarify the status of college athletes. Now, those are all concrete things that this order actually does. It'll take much more to do more, and the NCAA knows that. Their response to the president's order reads in part, quote, "We look forward to working with student athletes, a bipartisan coalition in Congress, and the Trump administration to enhance college sports for years to come." A piece of legislation, a vote in Congress, will be the thing that turns these shoulds into musts. Whether or not these ideas can save college sports, that's for you to decide.
Gerald, some breaking news from the WRAL Live Center. The #1 free app in the App Store right now has suffered a data breach. T is an app that's designed to allow women to talk about men they have dated, and the company confirms this major data breach, including 13,000 selfies that people submitted for account verification and 59,000 publicly viewable images as part of this breach, as well as comments and direct messages. The company says it only affects users who signed up before February of 2024, and the company says that its cybersecurity experts are working around the clock right now to secure its systems.
All right, Brian, thank you. We are getting ready to embark on a pretty intense heat wave. It's not unusual, Kat, but it's rare. We haven't seen one in a while.
Absolutely, Gerald. Triple-digit heat this weekend. Then you factor in the humidity and you get a heat index between 105 and 110. There are times Sunday when some of our southern cities could get above 110. It is going to be miserable heat this weekend. The heat backs off a little bit. It's not really going to be all that noticeable, but Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, 99's the high. The heat index still reaching or exceeding 105 those days. So we still have 5 more WRAL weather alert days to go in this stretch. Heat risk is cumulative, so for people that work outside day after day in this heat, it really can exacerbate the threat that people face. So take this seriously. 100's the high this weekend. There could be an afternoon storm or two that pops up each day. We're not expecting widespread activity, but I wouldn't rule it out, so a heads up on that. It'll maybe help cool you down a little bit, but I wouldn't count on it. 11 a.m. tomorrow, the heat index already in the triple digits. By noon, 104 is what it'll feel like during the afternoon. I mean, just look at these numbers. Try to find a way to stay cool this weekend, whether that's staying in the air conditioning, maybe going to see a movie. We've got a GalaxyCon happening in Raleigh this weekend. Try to find an indoor activity. Our next weather maker. So this is the heat dome that has set up over us and the southeast, the ridge of high pressure. It stays there this weekend, but shifts a little bit to the west as we get into the early part of next week. That does 2 things. It allows us to drop our highs into the upper 90s potentially instead of 100, and it's also going to open the door for some thunderstorms to develop. Still not widespread, but a 30% chance Monday and Tuesday. And then by the time we get to Friday, the ridge of high pressure has backed off enough to the west to open the door for a dip in the jet stream, and that northwest wind aloft should finally help us feel more comfortable again. So here's what you need to know. By the end of next week into the weekend, storm chances begin to really ramp up for us, but relief returns. We should see a drop in both temperatures and humidity, and that could include temperatures topping out in the 80s by next Friday. A live look at the WRAL Garner Tower camera is just hazy and hot looking this evening. Still 92 degrees with dew points in the 70s. The dual Doppler 5000 radar is nice and quiet for us right now. That's the good news. Tonight, low temperatures dip into the mid to upper 70s. A very warm and muggy night ahead, and then a hot stretch of temperatures on the horizon. Storm chances 20% this weekend, 30% Monday and Tuesday. That chance will increase Thursday and Friday, but there's that glimmer of hope on our 7-day forecast. At least we've got that. 88 degrees next Friday. Lows back down closer to 70 that night, Gerald.
Wow, and we got to get there first. So all of us need to take care of each other and our animals, Kat. Thank you. Hey, if there's a weather or breaking news in your area, or you have a tip you want to share with us, go to WRAL.com/report it. Send us your video, pictures, or information. Now, it is Monster Jam weekend in Raleigh, and one of the most famous trucks has a North Carolina connection. That story and a trip back to a Monster Jam in 2000. Your Friday moment of nostalgia is next. But that's not the only big event happening in our weekend or in our area this weekend. There's so much to do when you're out and about. Monster trucks will be roaring in Raleigh this weekend. Monster Jam is back at the Lenovo Center. There are 3 sessions, 2 on Saturday, 1 on Sunday. We have people in the newsroom who take their family to Monster Jam every time it comes to town. You may not know this, but one of the most famous monster trucks is from North Carolina. In 2009, our Tar Heel traveler did a story on the Grave Digger. Dennis Anderson built the truck in Currituck County. That's near the Outer Banks.
When it's all tired up, this truck is 10 foot tall. It's 10 foot tall and it's about 12 and a half foot wide. It started from an $850 truck. Then here we are going on 29 years, and this is what we got.
I've never won this World Finals, but it feels really good right now, Buddy Rowe. I had that feeling. My kids are here, and we got it.
All right, Gravedigger is still a staple of today's Monster Jam. Dennis Anderson is not in the car anymore, but his family is. Adam, Kristen, and Weston Anderson will all drive the truck this weekend in Raleigh. Of course, this is far from the first time the Monsters have jammed at the Lenovo Center. We went into the WRAL archives and found a story from 2000 when the stadium was known as the Raleigh Entertainment and Sports Arena. No corporate sponsorship yet. Thank you for making WRAL your choice for local news. Have a great weekend. We leave you with your Friday moment of nostalgia.
Loud and developed. The crushing sound of these monster trucks can pound the eardrums like an angry carpenter wielding a hammer.
Well, I mean, one word, it gets loud.
Powerful engines and heavyweight tires aren't just an eyeful, but if you're sitting in the entertainment and sports arena, they can be an earful.
Well, let's go to the Monster Truck Show.
This is a first for the Crumleys. They heard how loud it can get. They're making sure their 8- and 2-year-olds are wearing ear protection.
I've lost some hearing in my ears, so I want to think of them while they're young.
In this monster truck arena, many of the fans are wearing ear protection while others are opting for the direct approach. But ear protection is highly recommended, especially for children.
It's part of the flavor of the event. I always like to describe it as it tickles all the senses, including your hearing, your seat shakes. You obviously see it, you smell it, so it's something for all the senses.
If you're planning to come out to the entertainment and sports arena tonight, be warned, the noise from these monster trucks can be downright scary. Ken Smith, WRAL TV5 News, Raleigh.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.